Hello everybody and welcome to the Ponytail show. This is the very first episode and I am your host Lauren, and a very warm welcome to this show is about seeing the world through the glasses of others. And I want to explore the universe through the shoes of my pals in the industry. And with that, I'm going to invite my buddy Nigel Cabourn and his daughter Sophie Cabourn as my very first guests on the show. If I can actually figure out how that works. This is my first time doing this. Now, please bear with me, friends. Hey guys, nice to see ya.
Hey Ponytail, how are you?
Long time no speak. Now, I just need to explain to everyone, Nigel and Sophie are live from their studio in Newcastle, where the Nigel Cabourn office is. And I'm here live in Thailand from my parents' house, where the internet connection sucks. So please bear with us, everyone. I'd just like to tell everyone a little bit about how I met Nige and how we've, hung out, worked together and had so much fun together over the years. So basically, Nige, when we met, probably about 5 or 6 years ago now.
I think we met in the army gym in London about 6 years ago when you first came to interview me. This was before you started your business. I mean, you've always had your own business, but I mean your women's wear business.
Yeah. So yeah, let me explain for those folks who are just fresh listening from Nigel's following base or from my following base. So me, I'm Ponytail Lauren. I have a women's wear business called Women's Wear, W' menswear, and Nigel is the OG British authentic menswear guy, guru, who has had his business for probably over 50,
well,
about
I started in Flower Power, 67 I started really.
Yeah, so you've had your business really the longest, that out of anyone that I know in the business. So, yeah. And you really since we met, we became such great friends, and you really showed me the ropes on how to run a fashion business from ground up. So I really owe you a lot.
Thank you.
I have so much respect for you and for my business. So thanks, Nige.
Well,
so
I mean, yeah, I was just going to say, to be honest, I think I respect you a hell of a lot as well, because I love your energy, and I love the energy of young people, and I'm really lucky that maybe I've got a dozen people around the world who have got a lot of energy. We're all sort of doing the similar thing and helping each other, and we've become great friends doing that.
Yeah. Well, the thing about you, Nige, is like I think friendships are a really important thing to you, and that's how you run your business and you live your life. You are so passionate about your work as a menswear designer, and you travel all over the world, usually for your work, and you meet people along the way who inspire you, which is so fun.
Yeah, and I think you and I have been very lucky, because I think we've been to Japan about 6 times together, and I want to show everybody our best friend, the medicine ball, and we trained with this religiously. I think on every trip, and I know that once we did maybe 15 days out of 17 with this medicine, with 3 medicine balls. This is a 5K, but we had a 7K, and I was amazed how you could pick up and do all the exercises with 7K. So,
yeah, so for those who don't know what the hell we're talking about, so let's wind it back a little bit. So
yeah,
I met you in the Army Gym, which is your store in
in
London,
London.
about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I actually came to interview you for an article that I was writing, and we just hit it off. We were best buddies from the start, two peas in a pod. So then you invited me to do a fashion show in Tokyo about
That's
5
right,
years
with your
ago.
best friend Joe, from
Yes,
who was working for Double RL in Hong Kong, and you
yes,
introduced him to me, and I met him in Hong Kong, and then I met a whole load of people in Hong Kong through Joe, and Joe and I became really good friends, and he's really your best friend from being, I think, from a
yes, from art
student.
school. Yeah,
Yeah,
our
yeah,
friend Joe, shout out to Joe right now. You're probably
yeah.
listening.
So
Maybe not.
Joe's met some of my team. He met Kyle, and he's a
Yeah,
great lad. And he's now, I think he's head of Billionaires Club now, isn't he?
yeah, he's at
Yeah,
BBC Ice Cream. Shout out to Joe.
yeah, yeah,
So we did a fashion show for you in Tokyo. It was
yeah.
so fun
You were
because
great, both of you.
it wasn't like a fashion serious, like
No,
high
it
fashion
was
show. It
different.
was just all about having fun. Like there was a live band. Like there
And
were just all of our friends.
I had all my favourite vintage pieces actually, and
Yes,
Clutch magazine asked me to take my 250 most favourite pieces as a backdrop to the fashion show, and they're all in
yes,
this little book here, and this
I
has all my
remember that.
favourite vintage pieces, and
Yeah,
it was a really different fashion show to anything done before in Japan, I think.
yeah, it was really chill and like just all. It was just all about friendships, really, which was really
Yeah,
refreshing. And that's something I want to talk about on this podcast is how diverse the fashion industry really is. It's not this picture of high fashion, expensive, high luxury, nor is it just a picture of fast fashion, wasteful, cheaply produced products. There are a huge spectrum of businesses in between that fill the gap and make the universe so rich and beautiful. So yeah, I'd just really like to talk about um, your business, Nige, but we haven't finished our little story. So basically, we did the fashion show, then Nige,
yeah,
you,
yeah. We did
you,
the fashion show, and then we became great friends. Then you met my partners in Japan, who decided that they liked you so much they wanted to represent you. So in effect, we've been able to do an international business. You and I
yeah,
joining together, and of course, my Japanese partners help you to establish in Japan. And then, of course, from there, it rolled into you becoming the face of the Woman's on the Element
yeah,
collaboration that I did two years ago with Element. And because I realized then that you could skateboard and you were really good at skateboarding, albeit that
yeah,
you're on a cruising skateboard, but you can do it great. And
yeah.
you became
We,
the face of the Nigel Cabourn Element on the women's wear.
yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of fun traveling together for work.
Yeah, we've been
We spent
everywhere
a lot of
actually.
time in Japan together, showing our collections. And through
That's
that, I
right.
realized that you are obsessed with working out every single morning, like militantly. You love
Yeah.
your healthy food. You love traveling. And friends are so important to inspire you for your future collections, but also books are really important for you
Yes.
to inform new
Yeah.
collections. So let me ask you about, first of all, I really am curious about how all of this lifestyle has changed since this lockdown period and what's your
Well,
daily routine like?
I've never spent, 6 or 7 weeks since Sophie was a child. Obviously, I've been traveling 6 months of the year, and I see maybe Sophie maybe 4 or 5 times a year. And so now, I mean, her mum and I don't live together now, but I've still got a good friendship with her mum. And Sophie lives at the bottom of the mum's garden, so she's got a separate house. She lives in that house, and I actually go to that house and have some food, and we talk. And that was when Sophie said to me, "Dad, I want to show you all of the books that I pulled together, which you would love." You know, and a lot of these books are amazing. And I got a whole second wind of inspiration through my daughter. And so I want to introduce my baby daughter here.
Hey, Sophie.
Hi, Ponytail.
That was so kind of you and really thoughtful of you to like bring all those books from your own collection, and you bought some books for Nige during this lockdown period. Because it must be very tough for you, Nige, not to be able to travel and to be
that's the biggest problem. I mean, you know, like, I mean, I see you all the time, you know. I see, you know, all the people that work with me, you know, I see them, you know. I mean, those people are our joint friends, you know. We've got Emily who does the women's wear. I see her a lot because, you know, she's obviously doing the women's and we're traveling everywhere. I mean, we have Stacey, who used to work with before, who's now emigrated to Australia. I hope Stacey's watching today. Hi, Stacey. And of course, we've got Yuki, our yoga teacher, out in Japan, who we love and who we train with. And I don't know whether we can get Yuki on at some stage to say hi to everybody, because she taught you girls a lot. Me less, because I'm more interested in the more physical things. The yoga's a bit difficult for me. I can't keep my mouth shut for one thing. And secondly, I just like to move about.
Yeah. So tell me, so you told me yesterday that you've been exercising every morning religiously on this lockdown period. What kind of exercise have you been doing?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, I mean, the thing is, you just can't keep going out. Obviously, you've got to listen to what the government say and you know, and do what they ask. But I mean, obviously, I've been going out to do with the medicine balls. So I'm taking the 2 medicine balls out to the park, which is only about 200 meters from me. I go into a big field there where there's nobody, and I train with the medicine balls, and I do probably about an hour of training with the balls, and then I'm doing running to try and keep myself strong in case I got the virus. I think it's important at my age. I need to be super strong, so you never know. And then, of course, in the afternoons, I'm going out on a fat bike, and I'm just really looking after myself, as well as working about 4 hours in the office in the afternoon. Of course, today I'm in the office. And of course, I do my work with my books and my vintage clothes. And I'm lucky that my daughter can come and help me out, because I have very few skills on the internet. Instagram's about the only thing I can use. I'm still not using the computer. So books and clothing is really important.
Yeah. Isn't it nice to be able to spend this time together with family, though? Like, I mean,
well, Sophie particularly, because she's been really one person that I've kept together with. So
we never would have had the opportunity to spend this much time together ever 3 solid weeks. So I guess every cloud has a silver lining, and that's a big one for us. We get to do that and get to know a lot more about each other. I know that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
So the good thing is that I wouldn't mind showing people a few of the books that Sophie's brought to the table, because I'm very, very visual. You know, I love the picture of Edmund Hillary next to the aircraft, you know, on the Antarctic expedition in 56 to 58. It's a beautiful picture. I was able to do all of those clothes from that picture. I love the picture of George Mallory in 1924 with his whole team. I was able to do George Mallory clothes. So when Sophie brings a fantastic new photographer to me, which I probably have seen but didn't take much notice of. So the first person that Sophie brought to me, and I'm going to put Sophie on, you should tell them, Sophie, about the books that you brought to your dad.
So I did.
First of all, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, how did you get into photography, Sophie? And yeah, tell us about your passion.
So the kind of real short version of it is I wanted to be an artist, but I couldn't draw. So I thought photography was a really good way of expressing the kind of artisticness that I had and the creativity. And I really enjoy analog cameras, old film cameras. My dad gave me my grandpa's old box brownie. I started off using that, and then I started off, went to Newcastle College, and then I went to Edinburgh College of Art. And I got really into documentary photography. And I guess like my dad showed me Robert Cabourn. That's kind of my first favourite photographer. And then leading on from that, Paul Strand, Bill Ackridge, who we'll talk about today, they were my favourite photographers. I mean, Paul Strand was born in 1890, so he was the first ever documentary photographer. This is one of the books that I gave to Nigel, which is on the Outer Hebrides of Scotland. And then this one, which is 60 years of Paul Strand. So it's kind of one of the first photographers that took pictures that weren't so glamorous. They were natural. They were in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland, in Mexico, in downtown New York.
And importantly, what's really caught my eye, Paul Strand in this book is on the Hebrides. He went to the Outer Hebrides, to Stornoway, and all of these places where all the Harris tweeds made. Can you believe I've got all these pictures of crofters from 1954? I mean, the pictures are fucking great, and I think that this is a great book you brought to me. I mean,
well, that's the thing. That's the thing about that's so beautiful and important about using books as a resource rather than look at this one.
I mean, it's got Pharaoh around the neck of a V-neck. I mean, this is 1954. I mean, you've got to understand that most of the ideas that I take are coming from these type of pictures as well, Yeah. And I mean, this was a great find that Sophie brought for me. I may be able to do a whole story on that now. And Paul Strand here is actually he's photographing young people wearing dungarees here. I can't believe it. So look at this. This is like a Libro dungaree.
Yeah.
So she sort of brought like coals to Newcastle for me a little bit. Yeah. You can tell them about the other one,
So another one of my favourite photographers is called Bill Ackridge. Again, he's a documentary photographer. One of my favourite series he did was called Panic in Needle Park, and he did it for Life magazine. And it was a real gritty kind of documentary style photography thing. And then he did one on skateboarding, which is perfect.
And this is 1965.
And this is
1965. And I mean, that was before skateboarding really started. I mean, I've got a picture of a skateboarder, and I've got a Vietnam soldier on a skateboard about 1967. But I mean, he actually captured all the youth in New York, on skateboards.
How fun is that?
And with me doing Element and now Vans coming up, this is just great inspiration. And she's done an amazing job to give me this one, because she got this magazine especially for me, And these are the first pictures I think there was. Sorry, can you see it?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up, because when you showed that to me on our preparation call yesterday, actually this morning I found the full publication online, so I was able to read what was inside that magazine. Right. And I actually found this article written about the Vietnam War.
Oh, I know, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I mean, there's a beautiful girl in that Vietnam. In this book, there's a great picture of a girl wearing all army, and she just reminds me of you guys. It could be you, it could be Emily, it could be any of you, It's a really cool picture. You should show that. Find it then.
The article that I read in that magazine, it was all about men living aboard the aircraft carriers that were stationed in the South China Sea during the war, and they were just describing, you know, the hot, difficult conditions it was for the crew members on board, and how there was like a bit of an emotional struggle between the morale of the crew and the protests going on at the same time, anti-war protests going on in the US, which kind of made the servicemen feel very torn about, you know, their time spent in the war, seeing so many people die, and at what cost when people back home saw that the war was really a waste of time and were protesting against it. Now, I'm definitely not pro-war at all, but it was really interesting to see a different perspective on that experience, and that came directly from that magazine that you showed.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I was shocked when this magazine came all the way from New York about a week ago. Sophie had ordered it. Was it New York or LA?
New York.
From New York. And I was shocked to find that there was a whole story about Vietnam War, because, as you know, I'm really inspired by Vietnam. And you and I have done some travels to Vietnam and different places, and you love all the inspiration from there as well.
Yeah.
And you've used a lot of Vietnam type of idea in your clothing as well. So, and we've been to Vietnam together. So, you know, it's. I mean, this picture here, it could be you actually. It could be you. I mean, you dressed I mean, as I said, you guys, you and Emily dressed in these army green stuff. I don't see too many girls dressed in this. I've seen them in LA, but I think it looks really great. And you look great in this stuff as well. So,
thanks, Nige. And so I also saw that you had a workwear magazine in your staff.
Yeah, to show this one, Zoe. Yes.
Yes. So, tell me about this.
So I'm going to put this over to Sophie. Other than, obviously, I've got a close relationship with Japan, because I've been going to Japan since the early 80s. And I've met Mr. Amai, who actually started all of the workwear magazines. And he's done many stories on workwear. This has been very inspiring for me for Libro. I mean, he did this well before I started Libro anyway. And he actually came to Newcastle to see all my vintage. He'll be about nearly 80 now. He was actually a war photographer in Vietnam as well. And so he's part of the Sean Flynn and Tim Page type of era. And he came to meet Sophie. And maybe you can show them this here. So
I met Mr. Amai, I think it was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He actually went out to Japan to meet him first.
Yeah.
Went to his offices. Then he came back to Newcastle. And I was working for my dad sort of as an intern at the time, doing a bit of photography. And he sent me a little project, I guess, to keep me busy.
Yeah.
And I got in my little pink Figaro, and I drove all around the coast, because we're so lucky we live next to the coast. And I went to Grimsby and Beadnell and Newcastle, and I took loads of pictures on my film camera of loads of shacks. And he made a book, basically, all on shacks. And I did a little pre-recce for him of all these shacks along the coast. And he liked it so much that he gave me his hand-painted old Nikon camera, which is probably my most prized possession. I absolutely love it. He hand-painted it himself.
Wow.
That camera.
So, I mean, guys, this is a great magazine to get, and one to, you know, the workwear is so inspiring. You know, it must be very inspiring for lots of people. It's a really good Japanese one.
And what's so important is how much research goes into these magazines, which are really like books. They're very thoroughly vetted, and I think that's really important to tell folks out there that, you know, the internet is great, but books have such a wealth of really authentic.
Well, with me not being able to use the internet, particularly. Well, I don't do any research on the internet. what I'm saying is all of my research comes out of physical books, and I've got, you know, 2,000 or 3,000 books here in my library. And obviously I'm looking at books all the time, and I love images, so I'm driven by images. So when I see a beautiful picture, it tells me a story. I mean, you know, so a story tells 1,000 stories to me. A picture, sorry, a picture.
And there's also a lot of pictures that you can't get on the internet.
Yeah. But sometimes things get retweeted so much, and people are not sourcing the original source of the image, and meaning gets lost and often misinterpreted. And I think it's really important to mention that. Which brings me to the topic of how your friends inspire your design process, Nige. You meet so many people along the way, and there's, yes, you need to have the authentic vintage workwear, and you need to have the real vetted information sources for your research, but also there's this personality aspect of your inspiration, which comes from all the friends you meet along the way on your travels. Honestly, like, most of the people that I've met through you have become really solid friends, and shout out to all of them for you know, their great, like, spirit that sometimes you can't recreate, you can't that's something you can't copy. It's something intangible. Personality is so special, and it's what makes small businesses special too.
I think so. I mean, obviously, people are absolutely key to me above everything, and especially with this lockdown, I think everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people must be quite lonely with this lockdown. I mean, some people don't see anybody; they do have to stay in, and you know, it's really difficult when you can't have that interaction with people. And I've been having that interaction with lots of great, mainly young people, because it's a young business that I'm still in. I mean, obviously, I know a lot of the old vintage collectors and things, and I know a lot of young people, and the young people I know really are inspiring to me. You know, I learn a lot from all these young people. I mean, if you would take Emily or Stacey or yourself, you three guys give me loads of hints on how to eat, what to eat. And I've got Yuki telling me all about that, you know, the health and what I should do. All the times that we used to train with the balls, Yuki was always there, making sure we didn't hurt ourselves and doing the thing properly. So all of these people around me, they've all helped me in a different way, and I've helped them in a different way. And that's been all based on good, solid friendship, which I love.
Yeah, and that really reminds me of the flower power spirit of
very much.
peace,
And
love,
I
and
was
friendship.
17.
And that's how we're going to make a better world, you know, after we get out of lockdown. It's something we can nurture while we're in lockdown, keeping friendships at our priority, keeping in touch with people, but also, like, this whole the global warming issue, the mass production of fast fashion in the world that's choking our oceans. Ooh, sorry about that, guy. We are lacking compassion and friendship in the world. So that's, to me, an essential part of, you know, it's a lifestyle. It's an essential part of the design process, may it be subconsciously or not. But yeah, it's beautiful. And thank you for your wonderful energy, spirit, and, you know, love and compassion, the both of you. It really shows, and we are going to work together to make this universe a wonderful
place. Absolutely great.
Thanks so much for spending time with me.
Thank you, Ponytail.
Thank you,
Hope to see you soon, maybe in Vietnam next.
Yeah, and just letting everyone know, if you caught the end of this series, don't worry, it's going to be on video and on audio at ponytailjournal.com. If you don't know about Nigel Cabourn's insanely incredible clothing, hit up at Nigel_Cabourn and hit up, check out his website. It's really, you know, the most thoughtful clothing I've probably been in contact with. And thanks so much for being on the show, guys.
Thank you. This was
See
fantastic.
you, baby. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
See ya, Lauren.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you, Lauren. Oh, Lauren.